Well, hello again, everyone, and thank you for joining me again for another episode of The Whiskey Coach. We are back at the Northern Border Collection. Two down, we've already done the Weiser's 35, the Lot 40 12-year-old cask strength. Tonight on the docket is the 17-year-old Gooderham Worts Little Trinity 3-grain Canadian whiskey. So, Gooderham Worts, named after Englishmen that came to Canada. This is a Corby bottling, just like all of the Northern Border Collection bottlings. Exclusively released in Canada. Price at the LCBO, at least, where this one was procured, was $79.95. This is a 2017 release. Not sure what type of releases will be released in the future, but this is a one-time deal. The bottling at hand is a 3-grain. They're using rye, corn, and wheat, whereas their traditional Gooderham Worts that you can find on the shelves with regularity is a 4-grain spirit. 45% alcohol, 90 proof, whereas the traditional Gooderham is 44.4, so they did dial it up just a hair. 17 years old, guys, for $79.95. That's a great price. One thing about Canadian whiskey, there's extreme value there. Extreme value, and this is definitely another example of that for a beautifully crafted 17-year-old whiskey. Yeah, okay, I'm in. I got several of these bottles, so I'm hoping this will be good. I did roll the dice a little bit, but I've read good things, and I'm excited to try this tonight. Little Trinity is actually a church a little, I think, north of the Gooderham Worts Distillery District in Toronto, which, if I'm not mistaken, Torontonians, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there is any distillery actually operational there at this point, but it's still called the Distillery District nonetheless. But this is a mix of made up of 5 different whiskeys, all at least 17-year-old, obviously. There are first used barrels. There are ex-bourbon barrels. There are there are barrels that held various types of spirits. I know there are 18-year-old whiskey in here. I think there's 19, 20-year-old whiskey in here. That's the cool thing about Canadian whiskey is you do have more flexibility when producing a bottle. You don't have the stringent laws or standards to abide to that you do, for instance, in the bourbon world or in the Scotch world. So you can do some creative things, and in this case, create a 17-year-old whiskey with all sorts of different kind of backbones and kind of cross section, if you will, of whiskey. So, with that being said, guys, let's jump into this. I'm very excited. Again, I've been happy with the first 2 bottlings in this Northern Border Collection. The only one left to do now is the Pike Creek 21-year-old, which was stored in the Speyside Scotch casks. So that will be the next and last of the Northern Border Collection. The bottle, we didn't really talk about that a ton. It's really the same bottle as outside of the label. It's very similar to the standard Gooderham bottle. I don't know, doesn't jump out at you. I do like the fact that it says right there in the neck, 17 years. It's got a little picture of the Little Trinity Church. So, yeah. Oh, on the back, William Gooderham established the Little Trinity Church, and the oldest surviving church in Toronto, in 1842, for his mill and distillery employees who couldn't afford the high pew fees in this area. I think that's a cool story. So this church was basically established for people that couldn't, pay their way into a traditional church. The whiskey celebrates the story of Little Trinity with a balanced 3-grain blend of rye, corn, wheat, which we touched upon, for a dried apple and creamy vanilla taste with a rye finish. So that's what they're telling us is going to taste like. I'll tell you what I think it's going to taste like. Again, back to my tradition of trying whiskeys for the first time with you guys. I hope you feel special. The amount of whiskey I open, I'm going to go back to my old standard wine preserver here for this one. But the amount of whiskey I open for you guys is it's pretty impressive, I gotta say. So you should feel special about yourself. Corny, rye bread, cinnamon, like a caramelized ice cream, like a vanilla ice cream. A little bit of Irish whiskey in there, like fresh cut grass, that kind of thing. Interesting nose. Vibrant is the word that kind of keeps coming to mind when I nose this whiskey. Let's see what she's all about. Oh, by the way, before I tell you how this tastes, I had one of my viewers point out when I mentioned price, like this one, $79.95. That is Canadian. When I'm talking about LCBO prices, assume that I'm talking Canadian dollars, not US dollars. It's a clean tasting Canadian whiskey. Lighter than I probably expected for a, what you would think would be a robust 17-year-old whiskey. It's light, it's clean, it's quick. It's not quite here and gone, but it is a relatively short finish, short experience, generally speaking. I need to cleanse this palate here. That was nice. That was much richer than the first taste was. Like cream corn, if that makes any sense. Like Wheaties, like the cereal Wheaties a little bit. Very different. I give it that. Extremely light. Not a lot of viscosity. It's, like I said, it's very clean. It's here and gone. Orange. There's orange definitely in there. Almost a little bit of like, you know what it is? Just thought of it. Like pecan pie. A little bit of pecan pie at the end. Maybe mid-palate, I don't really know. I have a hard time differentiating that sometimes. Try this one last time. The more I drink this whiskey, the more I like it. Whiskey Coach score. Gooderham Worts, 17-year-old, 3-grain whiskey, 7.9. Enjoyable whiskey. Like I said, lighter, cleaner than I expected. It's here and gone, but while it's with you, it tells a story. It is a complicated whiskey, and one that I don't regret buying. I want to get to know this a little more. I think this is a whiskey I'm going to need to sit back and drink, a couple glasses of to really kind of wrap my hands around. But a good whiskey nonetheless. So thanks, guys. One more Northern Border collection to try, and that will be that. So thanks for joining, guys, as always, and until next time, glasses up.